Billionaire visits his son's grave and finds a black waitress crying with a child. She was shocked. The cemetery was quiet that morning, a gray mist curling over the marble stones. Margaret Whitmore stepped out of her limousine, her black heels sinking into the damp grass. She carried white lilies, the same flowers she laid on this grave every year since the accident. Her only son, Daniel. 24. Brilliant. Handsome. The heir to the Whitmore empire, gone in a crash no one dared to describe. To the world, Margaret was a steel-hearted billionaire who built hospitals, funded universities, and outmaneuvered Wall Street titans. But here she was just a grieving mother. She placed the lilies down with trembling fingers. "Happy birthday, Daniel," she whispered. That's when she heard it, a muffled sob. Margaret turned. A few rows away, a young black woman in a diner uniform knelt, clutching a child. Her shoulders shook with tears. Beside her, a boy, no older than 5, pressed his hand against Daniel's stone. Margaret's chest tightened. "Excuse me," she snapped. "Why are you here?" The woman flinched, trying to leave, but Margaret's tone hardened. "Answer me. What business do you have at my son's grave?" The woman's lips trembled. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to intrude." The boy tugged her sleeve. "Mama, can we tell her?" Margaret blinked. "Tell me what?" The woman's voice cracked. "Daniel. Daniel wasn't just your son." Margaret's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" The waitress pulled a folded photograph from her pocket, worn soft from being touched too many times. She handed it over with shaking hands. It was Daniel, smiling, his arm wrapped around her. And in his other arm, a baby. Margaret staggered back, staring at the boy in front of her, the same eyes, the same jawline. Daniel's son. Her grandson. The waitress whispered, "His name is Joshua. Daniel was going to tell you. But then the accident, he never got the chance." Margaret's knees nearly buckled. A lifetime of carefully controlled power collapsed in a single instant. She looked down at the boy again, clinging to his mother's hand, his eyes wide and innocent. He looked exactly like Daniel at that age. The waitress spoke softly, her words cutting deep. "He promised me he'd stand by us. That he'd make sure Joshua never felt small. But when he died, I couldn't bring myself to come here, until now." The mist thickened, silence pressing between them. For the first time in years, Margaret Whitmore didn't know what to say. She, the woman who commanded boardrooms and dictated billion-dollar deals, stood powerless in front of a waitress and her child. Her hand trembled as she reached toward the boy. Joshua, but he stepped back, hiding behind his mother's leg. He didn't know her. Tears burned Margaret's eyes. She had come to mourn her son, and instead, she found the legacy he had left behind. A legacy she never expected. The waitress held her child tighter, her voice heavy with both fear and defiance. "We don't want your money, Mrs. Whitmore. I just want him to know his father mattered." Margaret's throat tightened. Her empire suddenly felt meaningless. The only piece of her son that remained was standing right in front of her, and she had been blind to it all these years. The lilies slipped from her hand, falling onto the damp grass. Slowly, the billionaire lowered herself to her knees, eye level with the child. Her voice cracked, barely a whisper. "I was so busy building an empire. I never saw who my son truly was. But I see you now. And if you'll let me, I want to know you." The boy studied her for a long moment, brow furrowed. Then, hesitantly, he reached out his tiny hand. And in that fragile touch, Margaret felt something she thought she had lost forever. Hope.